the bear is still out to play, so the market really trading range bound at 19,600 or so.
Yes, the market managed to inch back up into the 20,000 levels. I mean, that's referring to the index, but it's almost a situation of, I mean, in the last, let me look at since June, it's been a downward trend, and then except for some stocks that are doing particularly well, like the Nigerian brewery and then Guinness that have done well. And we see that that's doing well because of the utility period that is coming in. Of course, you expect that their turnovers, they will do very well with their turnovers. And then by the time they start issuing results, I mean, half year of the results for the entire year next year, you'll see some good performance from them. Basically, beverage, alcohol sectors, really.
Okay, well then let's focus on the fixed income side of the market, because that's where we get a little bit of excitement. Open market bills being auctioned. There's liquidity in the market, but how's that fared?
Okay, there's not liquidity in the market. We have not seen federal allocations for the month of November as I speak, and this is the second day in December. Initially, it seemed as if it was just some bureaucratic issues, but if you look at it well, it could match well with the strategy of the government. I mean, operating the economy via CBN. Basically, the system is in a debit of over 210 billion naira and as being funded by the CBN in itself. But when federal allocation get issued, I mean, when these funds get into the system, what would happen eventually would be that when the system debit gets removed, I mean, gets nilled off the credit that will be coming in, you would have a balance that is not much. I mean, up enough to an amount, enough of an amount that will impact inflation or spike inflation again. So basically, when these funds come in, there is a debit in the system that had been funded by the CBN. It nails off, leaves a little balance that will not drag inflation up, because really their all-time target is to drag it back to the single digit. So that's what we're seeing. And then before the end of the year, we're going to see more of OMO, because at the beginning of the year, they usually have like a timetable of all sorts of target of all sorts of instruments to issue. So they are also tied in their books. And so the cost is going up fine, but they have to do what they need to do in order to keep inflation down.
Okay, whilst we wait for all those bureaucratic issues to get sorted, it doesn't take away from the fact that Nigerian securities are looking fairly attractive, with interest rates somewhere in the region of 12%. A short-term paper gives you 14%, 15%. Mid-term papers giving you 16%.
Yes, it costs a lot for the government to mop up these funds, but on the overall, I'm sure they would have done their CBA, cost-benefit analysis of what they stand to gain or lose. Inflation shouldn't go back up. They are trying to drag it back to single digits. They don't mind on the short term paying those amounts, but for the bonds, and what you see is that when they issue bonds, and then it seems as if counterparties and investors are quoting too high because of the long duration, what you see is that they will cut off at a specific rate that is manageable to them, basically. So it's all about inflation targeting and not stifling the economy of funds at all. It's a very, very tight balance to keep, really.
It's also all about the naira at over 161 naira. Is that the reason why we're seeing a bit of a shortfall on the market's transactions?
Yes, we've seen this month that oil companies have held back a little bit compared to other months where they'll come for month-end sales of dollars to help clear off their naira obligations. We've seen some oil companies, but it's not been like what we had at the middle of the year. Basically, everybody's holding back. Who has the cash is the king, really. Maybe it will trend back up, and then they will be able to sell at some more favorable levels, basically.
What is this?
The CBN has not even intervened up to the amount that they used to do. The CBN used to do between $600 million and $800 million, but in the last 2 weeks, I can confirm to you that they've done just $400 million, which is half of what they used to do every week, basically. So it's managing the reserve at the same time. Not wanting the naira to get devaluated, but at the same time, you need to manage the Federal Reserve also.
Yeah, which of course has improved to $35 billion. Thanks for your time there, Bankole.